How far are we willing to go to fit into a beauty standard that doesn't even exist for most of us? What if I told you that K-pop beauty standards are shaping not just the way we see the stars, but also the way we see ourselves? We all know the pressure to look perfect, and in the K-pop industry, these standards are pushed to extremes. For the idols we see on screen, looking perfect is part of their job, and the job and the industry make it very hard or nearly impossible for most of them to go against that pressure. And even though it's part of their job, there are some who certainly struggle with it. They endure physical or emotional strain. Some just starve themselves and end up collapsing because they don't have the body type that's required to fit the standard. Even though idols do have a responsibility for their own health and image, it's important to recognize that they shouldn't be the sole targets of blame for passively promoting unhealthy habits and standards. The real issue lies deeper in the structure of the industry itself and also in the demand created by consumers. We also have to ask ourselves, how much are we as consumers contributing to this pressure? The entertainment industry has long been built on a cycle of unattainable beauty standards. These standards are not only unrealistic but harmful, and the pressure to meet them is often unbearable for idols. When the consumers demand perfection, whether consciously or unconsciously, they definitely play a role in fueling this toxic cycle. It's a mutual issue. First of all, the industry needs to step up and take responsibility for the health and well-being of idols. Agencies should really prioritize their idols' mental and physical health, pushing for healthier practices and more realistic expectations. And we as consumers or fans need to ask ourselves, are we okay with sacrificing the well-being of idols just to get that shiny, unrealistic picture that fuels our dopamine rush? I think it's about time we recognize that idols are human beings and not products for our entertainment. We all have a part to play in this cycle, and only by shifting our mindset we can help break it. At the same time, so many K-pop fans blame the idols for triggering their own insecurities. If you're already an adult and able to make your own decisions, you should be able to look within yourself for the cause of your insecurity, rather than saying, they made me hate myself. Of course, it's harder for younger fans though. The pressure to conform to beauty standards is especially intense for them. They are in a phase of self-discovery, and they're often heavily influenced by external factors like media images and societal norms. The idols they admire appear as the ideal representation of beauty and success, and this creates a desire to look like them, to belong, and to receive validation. For these young fans, these perfect faces and bodies are not just role models, but also a benchmark for acceptance. However, it's important to understand that these fans are at a vulnerable point in their lives. The desire to fit in and to be liked can be so overwhelming that they often don't see the difference between reality and the heavily curated, unrealistic portrayals in the media. They might not even realize that these perfect images are the result of filters, photoshopping, and all kinds of modifications. Even when they do, it's hard to escape the pressure these images generate, especially in a world where comparison is constant and the feeling of not measuring up can be crushing. For younger fans, it's crucial to understand that these ideals do not reflect reality. What they see on screen is not the true unfiltered person. There needs to be more education and support around this, so young people can learn that real beauty comes from accepting themselves, not from chasing an externally imposed image of perfection. A thing people don't realize is we only want so-called perfection because we think it gives us a certain feeling of happiness and fulfillment, not because it's actually fun to be perfect, not because the process of achieving perfection is enjoyable. So we actually don't chase perfection, we chase the feeling we think we get from it. We think we get fulfillment from it, but it's a short-lived happiness if it's based on external factors, like the approval of others, something we mostly long for if we're being honest with ourselves. You've probably heard it before, but self-approval is the one thing that makes approval from outside irrelevant. It's the one thing that gives you so much inner strength and freedom, something that no external factor ever could. It's a tough journey to learn to accept yourself, but once you can do it, nothing will stop you. Many people don't realize that it's often their internal struggles that are the root of the problem, because it's obviously much easier to look for faults outside of ourselves than to confront our own inner conflicts, process past traumas and face our own psyche. I know that not everyone has easy access to therapy, and sometimes it can be a real hurdle to work up the courage to take that first step towards seeking help. For example, this year I personally want to overcome some insecurities that I wasn't aware of before, which include sharing my opinions more openly, as I'm doing right now. That's why I'm really happy to introduce BetterHelp to you guys. They recently reached out to me for a paid partnership, and I'm excited to share their service with you because it's a platform I truly believe in. BetterHelp is such a great, accessible option for anyone looking to take that first step toward therapy from the comfort of their own home. Even if you have therapy experience like I do, it's a wonderful platform for me to talk about any unresolved issues with a professional. You start by filling out a short quiz to match you with the right therapist for you. You can share what you're looking for in a therapist and any preferences you have, which I really love because it makes the experience so much more personal and tailored to your needs and identity. Once you're matched, you can schedule live sessions with your therapist whenever you're free. You have the flexibility to choose whether you want to communicate via chat, phone, or video call, whatever works best for you. They work with thousands of credentialed therapists from all over the world, so you can feel confident that you're in really good hands. If you click my link below, you get 10% off your first month of therapy. I really hope this service is helpful for you too. I think the K-pop industry should be way more transparent when it comes to plastic surgery. It's no secret that many idols undergo procedures to enhance their looks, yet it's often treated as a taboo topic, with agencies and idols denying it or avoiding the conversation altogether. And I think this creates unrealistic expectations for fans, especially younger ones, who might believe that achieving such perfection is purely natural. There's nothing wrong with plastic surgery itself, but there is something wrong with misleading people about it. Open conversations would help reduce stigma and even allow fans to appreciate their idols without feeling pressured to meet these unattainable standards. In my opinion, plastic surgery or minor cosmetic procedures, when done correctly in a safe professional environment and with a full understanding of the associated risks, it really can be a positive addition to one's overall well-being. However, the key factor here is the intention behind the decision, I think. Is someone opting for surgery because they feel worthless as they are and seek validation by changing their appearance? Or is someone already comfortable with themselves, simply looking for a small change that might make them even happier, but one they could easily live without? The difference lies in the motivation. The first person is trying to address the wrong issue. They need to look inward and identify the root cause of their dissatisfaction. It's crucial that we raise more awareness about this. More people need to reach the point where they ask themselves, why do I want to change? Why can't I accept myself as I am? And only then we can begin to address the core problem. I know of some foreigners living in Korea who just can't handle the pressure. They constantly compare themselves to people in the media and ultimately put their health at risk. They undergo multiple high-risk surgeries every year, hoping that this time they'll finally be happy with themselves. But they realize it never really gets better. Another flaw is always found, another procedure is needed, and it turns into an addiction that consumes their entire life. I've personally tried fillers before, and let me tell you, making these external changes might make you feel better for a while, but they won't fix the deeper issues inside. I knew they were just a nice little extra, and I'm still happy I got them. I liked the way it looked, but I didn't expect the procedure to heal any deeper wounds. If you're already struggling with self-love, no amount of external change will fill that hole, and you have to be aware of this. Obviously, body standards also play a big role when it comes to K-pop. It's all about the idea that the skinnier the better, but if you're too skinny, that's not good either. So you have to make sure to hit the exact perfect weight or you'll be ruthlessly body shamed. The diversity of body types is completely overlooked here. We know that idols are often forced by their agencies to stick to strict and unhealthy diets in order to stay competitive performative, and the audience must recognize what's going on here is neither healthy nor something we should strive for. Most idols struggle hard to survive in this unhealthy industry to make a living, and while it's questionable why they subject themselves to this toxic industry in the first place, I think each of them probably has their very own personal reasons. Let's take a look at ourselves instead and not chase after the same standards. In the K-pop scene, it's often talked about that the ideal weight for a woman is under 50 kilograms, and I've noticed especially young girls online losing touch with reality, completely dismissing other factors like height and individual body structure. I'm 179, and if I weighed 49 kilos, I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now. Plus, I know that rationally, I have a broader bone structure than most Korean women. That's why it's so dangerous to throw around these viral numbers that are unreachable in a healthy way for many people, especially since they give young girls a distorted view of what's attainable. So to give you my final conclusion, health comes first, always. I think the older you get, the more you will realize that. Don't mindlessly put your health at risk. All body types are equally valuable and beautiful, and that needs to be said more often. Learn to accept and even love yourself from within. Don't change for anyone. Everyone is unique, and you don't need to fit into that mold to be worthy of love. You're perfect just the way you are. I hope the K-pop industry will eventually recognize its powerful global influence and realize it has the opportunity to change many of the harmful values it currently promotes. So please guys, stay safe, stay aware, and always try your best to work on finding your inner happiness.